Humanity, Season 2, Episode 5, Rosa.
We open on the final congregation farm. We see some of the dead coming out of fence as a woman named Rosa runs at them and kills them all with a sickle. She cleans off the blood from the sickle and then holsters her sickle. She walks back behind the fence as a cultist comes up to her and says, "Yo, Rosa, Gina wants everyone at the gallows right now." Rosa walks towards the other end of the farm, where a large gallows sits with a crowd in front of it. A man named Chase has a noose around his neck as two soldiers guard him. Rosa heads into the crowd as Gina walks up the stairs of the platform and looks at the crowd. "We are gathered here tonight because of an incident that happened this afternoon." Gina points at Chase. "This man was found trying to escape the Salvation, the farm. He took food and even more. He has betrayed the Lord, even after the Lord had given him everything. For his crime of treason, he must pay the price, and that price is death." The crowd starts talking. People are screaming for them to hang him. Rosa stays quiet, staring at Chase, who has a terrified look on his face. Gina tells Chase, "Anything that there is that you want to say it now." Chase says, "I just wanted to be free. I didn't want to do this crap anymore. You're killing innocent people. Don't you people see what this crazy bitch is making you do? She is manipulating you, just so she can punish you for making the smallest mistake later." Gina says, "We aren't killing innocent. We're killing the unfaithful, the evil, the sin. And you, my friend, are just another one of those." Gina says, "Say hello to the devil you know." As one of the guards flips a switch and causes the trapdoor below Chase to open, hanging him and killing him. As the crowd looks at him in disgust, one man speaks out. "Serves him right. Betraying the Lord is the worst sin committable, and he dares to say we are the bad guys." Rosa stares at Chase's lifeless body with a very disturbed look on her face as the crowd begins to split. Alex, Jeff, and Torren are roaming through the woods. Torren holds onto Kelly, who is barely staying conscious. Alex asks Jeff, "Look, Jeff, not that I'm not happy to see you, but where exactly are we going?" Jeff tells Alex, "My car is nearby. I was in the area, and then I ran into your friend." Torren asks, "Hope it's close. I can't carry her much longer." As they then come up on a road and see a large group of the dead, Jeff whispers, "Get down," as Alex, Jeff, and Torren, carrying Kelly, go in a ditch. Jeff peeks up and sees about 20 infected on the road, blocking the way to the car. Jeff says there's too many to run to the car. Shit. Gunshots must have alerted them. Alex looks at Jeff. "How many bullets do you have?" Jeff says he used nearly all of it back there. Torren says he's got a few shots left in his gun. Alex looks at him and says, "Give me the gun." Torren asks why, and Alex says, "I'll distract them. Just get her to the car." He points at Kelly. Jeff asks if he's sure, and Alex says, "Can't risk making a run for the car. I can make some noise. Get them to focus on me so you can get her to the car." Jeff takes out a hatchet and hands it to Alex, in case you run out of ammo. Torren gives Alex his pistol, and Alex slowly gets up from the ditch, cocks the pistol, and slowly begins walking towards the dead. Alex walks up to the dead and raises his gun. He screams out and begins backing away, slowly leading them away from the car. "I'm right over here!" Alex shoots the gun, killing infected after infected, as Jeff and Torren slowly emerge from the ditch, slowly moving to the car to get Kelly to safety. Alex keeps shooting and makes as much noise as possible to keep the dead focused on him. He runs out of ammo and begins to swing the hatchet at the infected. He swings it at one of the infected's heads, splitting it in half. He pulls out the hatchet and keeps killing them with the hatchet as he begins getting swarmed. Torren gets Kelly in the back seat of Jeff's car, as Kelly, still barely conscious, manages to reach for her gun and hand it to Torren. Jeff grabs some bullets from his car's glove compartment and loads his rifle and raises his rifle. And Torren raises Kelly's pistol as the dead are swarming Alex. Alex is beginning to get overwhelmed, but just in time, Jeff and Torren open fire on the dead, saving Alex and killing almost all of them. Alex uses the hatchet and kills the remaining of the infected. As he pauses, he breathes, covered in blood. Jeff asks if he's okay, and Alex responds and says, "I'm fine. Just glad I was able to buy you guys time to get her to safety. Let's get going. Let's get to this place you were talking about, Jeff." Jeff agrees as Alex gets in the passenger seat, and Torren sits in the back seat with Kelly as Jeff gets in the driver's seat and begins driving away. Back at the Salvation, Rosa is inside an infirmary as she is seen patching up a man named Lennon's leg, which has a couple cuts on it. Rosa says, "Make sure you stay off of it as much as possible for the next few days. You can still walk, but you don't want to be putting too much pressure on it." Lennon says, "Thanks, Rosa. Can I go back to the trailer now?" Rosa nods and says, "It's your call. Do you need me to help you get back there?" Lennon smiles and says, Nah, it's fine. My wife is in the other room. She can help me get back." Rosa opens the door to the infirmary and lets Lennon walk out and meet up with his wife, Angela. Angela asks how it went, and Lennon says he's fine. He just needs to rest for a bit. Angela says, "Well, I guess now you know for the next time. When you fall, make sure you don't fall on barbed wire." Lennon says, "Noted," as he begins walking out with Angela. As they walk out, Angela says, "By the way, I think Jan is coming down with a cold again. She's been having a cough all day." Rosa, concerned, asks if they want her to have a look at Jan. Angela says they'll bring her by tomorrow if she's still sick. Rosa says, "Alright, well, don't be a stranger, okay?" Lennon thanks her and they leave. Rosa then heads back into the medical room and cleans up and puts away the bandages. Rosa goes outside and begins walking around the Salvation. She looks and sees a few cultists burning Chase's corpse. She leans against a fence and lights a cigarette and smokes it. Then Rosa hears one of the guards at the gate call out, "Hey, somebody get Gina over here, now!" Rosa investigates and gets towards the gate, where Chloe is standing alone at the gate, looking upset. "Chloe, what happened? Where's the rest of the people you left with?" Rosa asks. Chloe, without hesitation, says, They're dead." Gina comes up to them, walking up to Chloe. "Child, what happened out there?" Chloe looks at her and says, "Can we talk in private, Gina? It's really important." Gina says, "Sure. Come to my office. We can talk there." Rosa tries to get more information out, but Chloe walks off with Gina, as Rosa stands there with the guards, confused on what exactly had happened out there. Back with Alex. Jeff is driving as Alex turns around and sees Torren holding a patch on Kelly's wound with his jacket to help stop the bleeding. "How's she looking, Torren?" Torren looks at Alex concerned. "Well, she's still got a pulse, but I don't know for how long that's gonna last. But I'm trying to keep her from losing any more blood." Jeff says, "We can get the bullet out of her once we're at my place. I have the supplies we need to patch her up over there." Alex asks, "Well, how much further are we, Jeff?" Jeff says, "Just a few more minutes out, don't worry." Torren is watching over Kelly as her eyes open and she manages to speak a bit in pain. What happened back there?" Alex, happy to see her speaking, says, It's okay. We're getting you help. Just rest. We're almost there." Kelly takes a breath as she tries to stay calm from the pain, as Jeff says, "We're here, guys." Alex looks out the window as the car stops in front of a walled-off motel. Jeff gets out and opens a gate and gets back into the car and drives in. The car stops and Jeff and Alex and Torren get out of the car. Torren picks up Kelly in the back of the car, who cries and screams in pain. Jeff then says, "Get her to room 3. I'll go grab some medical supplies." Torren and Alex walk into the room quickly. Torren lays Kelly down on the bed as Torren keeps pressure on the wound. Kelly cries, It hurts so much." Alex takes her hand and looks at her. "I'm here, Kelly. I'm here. Just look at me." Kelly looks at Alex and Alex says, "You're going to be okay. We're going to get the bullet out." Jeff then walks in with a med kit and a bottle of whiskey. He sets them down and goes up to Kelly. Kelly looks nervous as Jeff removes Torren's jacket and reveals the wound. He grabs the bottle of whiskey and opens it and makes Kelly drink it. Jeff then says, "That'll help her get through it." Kelly calms down a bit and Alex asks if it's time. Jeff says, "Yes. but you gotta keep her stable. Torren, I need you to hold her down. Alex, talk to her. Try to get her mind off of it. Alex says he'll do it, as Jeff opens the medkit and pulls out a bottle of hydrogen peroxide. He opens it and gets ready to clean the wound. Kelly is nervous, but Alex speaks to her. Just stay focused on my voice. I'm here. It'll be over quick. Jeff pours the peroxide on Kelly's wound as she screams. Torren holds her down as Jeff tells Kelly, Kelly, I need you to breathe. Just stay calm. I'm going to pull the bullet out now. Jeff grabs some pliers from the first aid kit and gets ready to pull the bullet out of the wound. Torren holds the bullet hole open as Alex holds her hand tightly and says, it's going to be okay, Kelly. It's going to be okay. Jeff inserts the pliers into the wound and Kelly screams loudly. Jeff looks for the bullet that says, I got it. Jeff pulls out the pliers and is holding a bullet with them as Kelly settles down. Jeff then cleans off the blood and stitches her up as Alex stays by her side the entire time. Jeff finishes the stitches and bandages her up. Alex smiles and says, it's over, babe. It's over. Kelly, still in minor pain, manages to crack a smile, and Jeff says, best thing you can do is get some rest for now. If you're hungry or thirsty, just let me know. I'll get you anything you need. For now, get some sleep. You need it. Jeff looks at Torren and says, Torren, you mind watching over her for a bit and make sure she recovers well? Torren says, no problem, I can do that. Jeff looks at Alex and says, now would be a good time to talk, wouldn't it? Alex says, yeah, it really would. Jeff says, okay, we'll talk on the balcony. Alex goes up to Kelly and says, I'll be back soon. Just get some sleep. I love you. Kelly smiles and Alex kisses her on the forehead. Alex then walks outside with Jeff. Back at the Salvation, Chloe enters Gina's office in the farmhouse. Gina sits at her desk and Chloe sits in front of it. Gina asks, so you mind explaining to me what happened out there? Chloe says, me and the group saw two people in the woods. One of them reached for a gun, and I shot them. We surrounded the two, and then one thing led to another, and someone in the distance started shooting. They killed Marvin and Andy. I fell back and saw someone else come out and kill Ray. I then made my way back here. Gina, concerned, asks, were you followed? Chloe says, no, I stopped for a bit to just make sure of it. Gina, confused, asks, so why exactly did you want to tell me this privately? Chloe says, well, you see, one of those two people was my brother, and the other was his girlfriend. Gina is shocked and says, so he came looking for you? Chloe says, he did. I don't know how he found out where I was, but he was out there. I tried to convince him to come, but he refused to because of his girlfriend being shot. Then Andy was going to put her down. Then the gunshot started and Gina says, Christ, do you know if the sniper was with your brother? Chloe says, I'm not sure. Gina then asks, so what are you asking me here exactly? Chloe says, I am asking if by chance you could send a group out to go find him and bring him here. He may have hurt me back in the day, back at the start, but he's still my brother, and I love him with all my heart, and I want to be with him again, and give him a shot at being part of the family again. Gina looks hesitant. Is he a threat? Chloe says, no. All I think he needs is some convincing. After everything that's happened, I can't blame him. But I don't think he would be a harm to our people. Gina asks, well, Chloe, you are one of my most loyal followers. I've always been able to count on your judgment. So sure, I'll give it a chance. Just give me a description of your brother, and I'll send out a group to go look for him. Chloe gives a description of Alex, and Gina says she will send a group out tonight. And whoever those people are that attack their people, they'll deal with them. Chloe smiles and thanks Gina. She then gets up and walks out of the office. Later, Rosa is keeping watch at the gate. A group of 5 infected come her way as she raises a bow and arrow. She proceeds to take them all out one by one with the bow before putting down the bow as a man named Marcus comes up to her. Hey Rosa, you're needed at the infirmary. Rosa looks at him and says, do you know what for? Marcus says, No, but I was asked to come get you. I'll take over your shift. You just go check it out. Rosa agrees and hands Marcus the bow and arrow before she leaves and walks off to the infirmary. Rosa walks into the infirmary where she sees Lennon and Angela sitting with their daughter Jan. Rosa goes up to them. Everything alright? Jan coughs a couple times as Lennon speaks. Look, Rosa, I'm getting worried. Jan had a minor asthma attack a bit ago. Rosa goes up to Jan and asks, any history of asthma? Angela says, she does, but she hasn't had an attack since she was 17. The attack was minor and we were able to deal with it, but we're worried it could get worse, and if she has another attack, we're wondering if you could have an inhaler or something to help her if she does. Rosa says, I'll check, but I'm not really sure. Jan says, thank you. Rosa smiles and says, no problem, I'll be back in a second. Rosa checks her medical supplies but does not find any inhalers. She comes out to Lennon and Angela and Jan. Sorry guys, I don't have that. I haven't dealt with asthma patients before, so I don't know other ways of treating it. Best I can suggest is drink a lot of water, Jan. And if you have another attack, then I need your father or mother to tell me right away. But I'll go speak to Gina. Ask her to have a group keep an eye out for an inhaler next time they go on a supply run. Lennon looks at her and says, thank you, Rosa. I appreciate this. Rosa smiles and says, no problem. I'll find you once I talk to Gina. Rosa walks out of the infirmary and walks towards the farmhouse to speak to Gina. Rosa walks into the farmhouse and then walks up to Gina's office. She knocks on it. Gina, it's Rosa. I need to talk to you. Gina answers, come in. Rosa walks in and sees Gina reading a book at her desk. Gina says, have a seat. Rosa sits and Gina asks, so what brings you to my office, Rosa? Rosa says, look, one of our people, Jan, she had an asthma attack recently. It was minor and went away, but her parents fear she could get another one, and they don't have an asthma inhaler. I was hoping you could ask the next group you send out on a supply run to try to find one for her. Gina has a very neutral look on her face. I can't do that, Rosa. Rosa looks shocked. Why not? Gina smiles. Well, you see, Rosa, illness happens for a reason. Illness is a trial. Jan is being tested right now to see if she's strong enough. God will save her if her faith is strong enough. So no, I won't have people find an inhaler. You can't cheat the Lord after all. Rosa speaks out, upset. That's bullshit! If she doesn't get that inhaler and she has another attack, she could frickin' die! Gina gets angry. Don't you go questioning the Lord. If she dies, then that's what God meant to happen. It's just God's way. You're only to treat injuries, not illness. Do I make myself clear? Rosa seems to want to speak out, but Gina speaks again. Don't make the Lord regret giving you a second chance after what you pulled 2 months ago. You wouldn't want to end up like Chase now, would you? Gina stares at Rosa with a very serious look on her face. Rosa looks at her and says, yes, understood. Gina says, good. Now get out of my office. Don't waste my time like this again. Back at the motel, Alex walks up to Jeff, who is sitting on a chair outside the room. Alex sits in a chair next to him. Alex looks at Jeff. So I guess there's a lot to talk about, isn't there? Jeff says, there sure is. You can start if you want. Alex explains everything that's happened and led up to where they are now. Jeff looks at Alex with empathy. Shit, I'm sorry, buddy. All that shit you've been through, that's awful. Nobody your age should have to be dealing with that kind of stuff. Thanks, Jeff. So look, I'm just curious. You said you knew about these people, right? But I want to know, were you aware that Chloe was one of them? Jeff nods no. She must have joined after I left. Alex looked at Jeff shocked. So you were one of them at one point? Jeff says, yes. This group, they call themselves the Final Congregation. And let's say I have some history with them. I'll start from the very beginning. So back when it all started, for the first few days, me and Rosa, we were held up in our house. One day, I went on a supply run and I found this farm. It was empty of people, only some of the dead, but it had plenty of food and livestock and solar panels and a fence. So me and Rosa moved there. Things were going great for 2 weeks. The farm was isolated. We dealt with very few instances of the dead showing up, but then one day, these people showed up. They were led by this crazy girl named Gina. They forcibly took the farm from us. They allowed me and Rosa to join them as long as Rosa would be a doctor for them. But the things these people did, the way they would expand their group, they would find people out there and then force them to take place in these awful trials in the name of the Lord. Until there was only one left, and then that person would join the group. Alex looked shocked by this. So this is some sort of cult? Jeff says, yes. They believe that the Lord created the apocalypse, and that they need to eliminate sin and the unfaithful from this world. But Gina, she plays on people's emotions. She's a massive manipulator. Over half of her people, she has brainwashed into carrying out the quote-unquote work of God for her. Me and Rosa couldn't deal with it anymore, so we tried to escape one night. They chased after us. In the end, Rosa got recaptured, and I got away. I don't know if she's still alive, but I fear the worst. I'm hoping she may still be out there, but again, I'm just not sure. So right now, I'm just doing what you would want me to do. Survive. Alex looks taken aback by this. I'm so sorry, Jeff. I mean, maybe Rosa is okay. I mean, she's a doctor. They would need her. Jeff says, I hope you're right, but I'm assuming Chloe arrived sometime after my escape. She must have been put through the trials, and well, Gina must have done what she does best, get inside of her head. Alex says, after everything that's happened to her, I guess it would make her prone to manipulation, right? Jeff says, don't worry, kid. I'm gonna do everything I can to help you get her back. You two had one of the most unbreakable brother-sister bonds I've ever seen. Alex smiles and says, I hope we can. I came all this way. I've been through hell in the past few days. I've killed 2 people and seen shit I'd rather forget. I will not let that be for nothing. Jeff smiles. We will make sure of that. But hey, your old man would be proud of you. Your parents are watching you from up there and are proud of you for what you've become. Alex says, well, I hope I don't let them down. Jeff says, you won't. I saw the way you hound yourself back there against the dead. You're a capable fighter. Keep it that way. You need that to stay alive in this world. Alex says, well, honestly, it's all thanks to Kelly. She taught me everything I needed to know from day one, taught me to shoot, and she saved my life more times than I could count. I love her with all my heart, and I'd gladly die for her. Jeff says, glad you found someone like her. Helps you stay sane in a world gone mad. Alex says, the fact that we would tease you at the family barbecues when you would talk about the apocalypse and stuff, guess we should have listened to you. Jeff laughs. Told you so. I mean, my thoughts of the apocalypse were more about the nuclear wastelands and mutants, but the dead reanimating? Well, I'll just say, not what I expected. Alex laughs and says, well, honestly, regardless, you're probably the best person to be with in this world anyway. Jeff thanks Alex and says, well, that's all for now, I guess. I'll go check on Kelly. You mind keeping watch at the gate for a bit? Alex agrees and walks towards the gate. Back at the Salvation, Rosa is sitting on a bench on the farmhouse porch, listening to music, still upset after what had happened earlier with Gina. Chloe goes up to Rosa and says, hey Rosa, you got a minute? Rosa looks at Chloe curious. Sure, what's up? Chloe says, come with me. I gotta tell you something about last night. Chloe and Rosa talk by a trailer. Rosa looks at Chloe. So what is this about? Chloe speaks. Look, I'll just put this bluntly. I saw Alex out there. He came looking for me. Not sure how he found me, but he did. Someone started shooting in the distance and killed the group I was with. There was another guy with them as well. But it's your cousin after all, and I thought you should know since it's family. Rosa is shocked. So Alex is out there. He traveled across the country looking for you? Chloe says, he did. He wouldn't come with me though, but don't worry. Gina is sending people out to go bring him here. We're going to be a family again. Chloe smiles. Rosa, concerned, says, are you sure this is the place for him, Chloe? Do you want Alex to have to do the shit they do here? Chloe shrugs it off. I'll get through to him. He'll understand. Once I talk to him, he will be convinced. Trust me. Rosa is about to say something else, but then a gunshot is heard. Chloe and Rosa head towards the gunshots as they see Marcus holding Lennon and Angela and Jan at gunpoint. Don't take another step, Marcus says as Rosa walks up to him and asks what's going on. They try to escape, Lennon says, "We had no choice. They were going to let my little girl die." Gina comes outside asking what's happening. Marcus explains it to Gina. Gina looks at Lennon, Angela, and Jan and says, "I'm disappointing you guys. And more importantly, the Lord is disappointed, which is what makes this unforgivable." Angela begs and says, "Please, we just wanted to help our daughter." Rosa says, "Come on, Gina. Just get the girl the inhaler. This would not have happened otherwise." Gina looks at Rosa angry. "What the hell did we talk about?" Rosa snaps back. "What am I? What are you talking about? You're going to let someone die all because that's what you think God wants? Well, it's fucking bullshit. You're crazy. Everything you and your people believe is bullshit. This place is rotten. And you are the worst offender, Gina. I don't care if you speak for God. If he is supporting this, then I want nothing to do with him." Chloe looks at her. "Rosa, calm down. Don't dig yourself in a hole like these people." Gina looks at Chloe. "It's already too late for that. Rosa, clearly you've lost your faith, and therefore, God's faith. And for that, you are now just another poison in this world. Marcus, take her to the cells with the family. They are going to be executed tonight." Marcus grabs Rosa and she tries to fight back, but he punches her and strips her of her weapons and ties her up. Rosa looks to see the same happen to Lennon, Angela, and Jan. Rosa looks at Chloe, who seems unsure on what to think of what's happening. Later, Rosa is sitting in the cell alone. She's crying, upset that she couldn't help Lennon and his family. The door to the cell opens and Marcus walks in and walks up to Rosa. "Get up, you're the first on the chopping block." Rosa tells him to fuck off. Marcus gets angry and pulls out Rosa's sickle. "Honestly, I'm not surprised with you. I always knew something was up with you. Since the day you tried to leave the farm with your uncle 2 months ago. Knew it was a matter of time before you turned your back on the Lord. Your family has a history of that. And honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if Chloe ends up doing the same as you at some point. Now get the fuck up." Rosa gets up without a word, with a long look of anger on her face. Marcus says, "Don't worry. You care so much about Leonard and his family? You can rot in hell with them for all of eternity." He laughs, and this angers Rosa. Rosa stops and Marcus orders her to move, but then Rosa quickly turns around and punches Marcus. Marcus tries to fight back, but Rosa grabs his arm and takes her sickle back. Before Marcus can react, Rosa quickly slits Marcus's throat and kills him. Rosa freezes for a second, but then quickly picks up Marcus's gun. She then slowly heads out of the cell. Rosa exits the cells and enters the hallway. She heads to a different cells and lets out Lennon and his family. Lennon says, "Fuck, I was getting worried for a second." Rosa says, "Just stay quiet. We're getting out of here." The group slowly walks towards the exit as Chloe enters. She sees this and raises her gun at Rosa. Rosa slowly walks towards Chloe. "Chloe, you don't have to do this. Just lower the gun. I know you know what these people do isn't right." Chloe keeps her gun pointed. "You betrayed us, Rosa. You're my cousin, and you still betrayed me." Rosa says, "I didn't, Chloe. Your family, come with me. We can find Alex together, all of us. You've done some bad stuff, but I still see the good in you. It's not too late for you to come back." Chloe says, "Alex needs this place, Rosa. I want God to protect him, like he protected me. Gina will save him." Lennon stares at Chloe. "Look, kid. Gina is crazy, and you know it. She got in your head. She made you think there's no other way. She doesn't care about you. Me and my family, we made one mistake, and she has fed us to the dogs. She will do the same to you, Chloe. It's only a matter of time." Chloe holds her gun shaking. "I can't let you leave." Rosa looks at Chloe and says, "I'm sorry," before swinging her pistol at her and knocks her out. Lennon picks up Chloe's gun and Rosa looks at Chloe and says, "It's not too late. And I hope you see that before it is too late," as they slowly leave the cellar. Rosa, Lennon, Angela, and Jan exit the cellar. They slowly move through the farm. They hide behind a trailer as a guard passes by. Rosa looks at a fence near the woods and whispers, "All right, on my mark, we run for the woods, okay? That work for you?" Lennon nods as the group prepares to run. Rosa gives a signal and they make a break for the fence. They get close to the fence as a guard sees them and screams, "We got runners!" as he begins shooting. Rosa and company jump the fence as more guards are shooting at them. Rosa takes cover at a tree and fires back, killing a guard. Lennon also shoots back and shoots another and kills another guard. Angela says, "Come on, we gotta go," as she and Jan begin running, and Rosa and Lennon follow them. But as they're running, Angela is shot in the leg and falls screaming. Jan turns in horror as Lennon tries to get to her, but Angela screams, "You gotta go, I'll buy you time." Jan tears up and Lennon says, "We gotta go, Jan, I'm so sorry," as they keep running, and we see Angela get surrounded by cultists. Back at the motel, Alex is keeping watch as Torren comes up to him. "Hey kid, how are you holding up?" Alex looks at him. "I'm fine." Torren says, "So Kelly seems to be doing okay. She's healing up well. Not sure how long it'll be for her to recover though." Alex smiles and says, "I'm just glad she's okay." Torren says, "Same here. She's a good kid. I think her and Amber would have gotten along." Alex says, "So anyway, how are you holding up?" Torren says, "Fine. I'm a bit tired, but fine." "Your uncle's a good dude. I can tell he was the kind of person to be prepared for this kind of shit." Alex laughs and says, "Well, trust me, you know nothing till you would hear the type of shit he would say at our family gatherings." Torren laughs, but then Alex sees 3 people in the distance. He raises his gun, and so does Torren. The 3 see them and put their hands up. One of them says, "We're friendly. We mean no harm." It is revealed to be Lennon, as Alex lowers his gun, as he sees Rosa is with them. He lowers it and tells Torren he knows one of them. Alex hops the fence and walks up to Rosa smiling. Rosa sees him too and smiles. They hug as Torren walks up to them. Torren asks, "Who's this?" Alex says, "My cousin." Jeff comes outside and sees Rosa and runs up to her with shock, hugging her. "You're alive. I was so scared after what happened." Rosa smiles and says, "I don't go down that easy. There's a lot I gotta explain. But I guess I gotta introduce you guys now. This is Lennon and Jan." "Lennon, Jan, this is my father and cousin." She points at Torren and asks, "And you are?" Torren says, "I'm Torren." Rosa says, "Nice to meet you." Jeff smiles and says, "We'll get caught up inside. Come on." Alex is sitting outside with Jeff, Torren, Lennon, and Jan. As Rosa comes out of the room Kelly is in, Alex looks at Rosa. "How's she doing?" Rosa looks at him and says, "Well, I checked her out. She's been patched up well, but she has a minor fever, and this is a possible sign of infection. It could get worse without antibiotics, and I don't have that stuff. Other than that, though, she's fine." Alex, concerned, says, "Any idea where we could get the antibiotics?" Rosa says, "Any medical place. However, every clinic has been raided in the area, so I'm not sure where to look." Jeff speaks out and says, "Well, there is an old FEMA camp nearby that might have the stuff we need." Alex says, "Then what are we waiting for? Let's go check it out." Jeff says, "It's not that easy. There's a reason I haven't looted it yet. There's a lot of the dead there." Alex says, "Well, I say we take the risk. We go there, we kill as many as we have to, and we get the supplies we need." Lennon says, "Maybe they'll also have an inhaler for my daughter." Alex says, "We will keep an eye out for that stuff, and we will get everything else we need as well." Jeff says, "Well, you can handle yourself, so I think we should be able to get the stuff." Rosa steps in and says, "I'll go with you. Kelly's stable for now, and you could use an extra hand. Plus, I can help identify the stuff we need." Jeff says, "Only if you're sure, Rosa. I just got you back. I don't want to put you in any more danger after everything you've been through." Rosa says, "I'm sure." Jeff says, "All right, we will leave at first light. Y'all get some sleep for now." The group agrees, and then they split off for the night. Back at the Salvation, Gina is in her office looking out the window and sees her men burning Marcus's corpse. The office door opens, and one of her people enters. "Duke, just wanted to give you some things I needed you to do on that run later." Duke says, "Sure, Gina. What is it?" Gina says, "Chloe says her brother is out there, and she wants me to send out a group to look for him. But I'm worried that after everything that's happened between those two, that him being here could cloud her judgment. I don't want her mind being poisoned by the sins of her brother." Duke asks, "So what are you asking?" Gina then gives Alex's description to Duke and says, "Keep an eye out for him out there. If you see him, I want you to kill him." Duke asks, "And what do we tell Chloe after that?" Gina says, "We will say that he fought back and you had no choice but to kill him. Chloe will understand, she'll buy it, and if she doesn't, well, then that's her problem." Duke asks, "And the escapees?" Gina says, "Same goes for them. You see them, you kill on sight. We will also be dealing with Angela shortly as well." Duke says, "You got it, Gina. May the Lord see us through this." Gina smiles and says, "He will, because we are free of sin, and once the sin is gone from this world, we will be in paradise once again." Back at the motel at dawn, Alex, Jeff, and Rosa get geared up and get into Jeff's car as they drive to the gate. Torren opens it for them and says, "Good luck out there." Alex thanks him and says, "Take care of her, okay, Torren?" Torren smiles and says, "Of course. If she needs anything, I got it." Alex smiles and the car drives away. Back in the room, Kelly is laying on the bed reading a book. She then takes a bottle of water and drinks from it. She then looks out the window and sees the car leaving the motel. Back at the Salvation, Chloe is in her trailer, sitting on her bed. She looks at a photo of her, Alex, and her parents together. She sheds a few tears and says, "It's okay, little brother. We'll see each other again soon. I promise." Outside, Angela has a noose around her neck as the crowd watches. She says nothing, accepting her fate, as Gina orders her to be hung. The lever is pulled, and Angela is hung and killed, as Gina looks at her dead hanging body and says, "For those who have sinned will face the wrath of the devil." Back with Alex, Jeff, Alex, and Rosa are driving down the road. They drive past some of the dead, as Alex rests his head on the back of the seat he's sitting in, gathering all his thoughts after the events of the last day.